There you go. Yeah, right.
This.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll call the meeting to order at 6:08. And apologize for being late. We had a little setup issue to get through, but we are here now. Any changes to agenda that we can identify? I didn't see anything, but no?
I don't believe
Okay.
so.
Announcements? Any announcements?
Word of gratitude to the road crew.
Always.
The bridge, the Mill Street Bridge has been child safety. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all who made that happen. Much appreciated.
It's great, and no snow to push through it, so it'll work. Any other announcements that anyone has? I just want to thank you, Rose, for taking over last week while I was away, and I was going to thank Josh and the road crew for the fencing also, and I would just want to make a note that George Springston called me. He wanted to replace the flood gauge that's down at the park right near the temporary bridge. No expense to the town. And I told him I thought he should just go ahead and do it. He'd be the one we'd ask anyway. And he knows how to set it up. It's apparently like a metal post, so they can see what the level of the water is. So that was the only thing I can talk about.
I guess this isn't active right now.
Yeah.
You sent me the
Any-
agenda. Sorry, you sent me the agenda on my phone.
I can.
You can share this.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, we got it.
Thank you.
Any public comment from anyone?
Just again, yay, road crew.
We have a few folks joining us. That's great. Well, we can go right into the EVEAC, otherwise known as EVAC, for evacuation.
I see Liz.
Anyone give us a report on that?
Yes. Hi, everybody. This is Liz Peralt, dialing in from home. So I'm not sure exactly what you are interested in hearing, but we have 2 weeks worth of updates. We're just getting started. Work groups have been meeting. And may I ask first, before I get too far into this, is my internet like glitchy, or are you just glitchy? Like, are you hearing me okay?
Yes.
We seem to be hearing you okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
So some work groups have the work groups have been formed, or the ones that we mentioned the last time we reported out, and a couple of us have met. One of the work groups is the construction work group or engineering work group, which is Rick, myself, and John. And we reviewed the spreadsheet with all the numbers that Rick had compiled from a couple different estimates, one his estimator and one that Sandy Vitsum had used did a cost estimate. So the general gist of that, and there's still more numbers to hunt down and figure out, but just with what we estimated for total costs, it came to somewhere between 4.5 and 5 million for the construction engineering costs. That initial, getting water, sewer, roads, whatnot to the property, and the property cost itself. So there's a huge gap between what we thought originally it would cost and what we're finding it to actually cost. And so a few things that our group looked at that could affect the budget in the favor of a lower cost is, shortening the timeline. There's a couple of different estimates for how long the construction of the roads and sewer and water lines and electricity and all that would take. It's anywhere between 4 and 10 months. So obviously, if we could do it less than 10 months, we would save a little bit of money there. We looked at the fact that on the sewer and water lines, we have a stub to each lot, thinking it didn't make sense to dig up a road that was just put down if we're building all these places and people are going to have to do that. But who's going to pay that? The town or the lot owners? It's, that's under discussion. Another look at cost savings is the infrastructure in looking at lot reconfiguration of the lots and maybe adding some lots and not having as much open space. Let's see. The legal and survey costs, we have quotes from them. They seemed low to us, but they were verified. We'll look at those again. Yeah, so that's kind of the gist on that. Let me see if there's anything else in that. So a few things our committee or our work group needs from the town is builder's risk insurance costs, pipe material pricing, hydrant pressure data, and clarity on public land ownership and tax responsibilities. Those are some lingering questions that will be coming to you for clarification. We will be refining the costing and coordinate closely with with Brad Wheeler for wetland delineation. There's that word, map. One of the things that had been looked at too was the road going into the new development off from East Hill. That road, as it is designed right now, comes straight into the lights of a car would go right into the neighbor's house. So we were hoping we could shift that road some so that would be avoided, but it's not very likely because it invades too much of the wetlands and it would cost a lot to do that. So that's a few things that we've been looking at. The prospective buyers group is Walker, Jared, and Kim. So they've been formed. They haven't met yet, but they will be. One of the things that was discussed, they will be looking at what affordable actually means. Is it, based on a formula, or is it based purely on, well, $40,000 cheaper than $80,000, but not considering, the lot size and what it would actually sell for in open market, that kind of stuff. They'll be speaking with Down Street and Habitat for Humanity because they have expressed interest in up to 5 lots each. We also talked about doing a builders fair of sorts where local builders could come and talk to prospective buyers so they could get an understanding of what they could do on whatever size lot that they're interested in, so that they would know, have a better handle on costs to build. And we thought that would be a great way for any of the local builders that wanted to participate and contribute in some way, that they could do that and have that access for potential buyers. And actually, it would be open to anyone. So it's actually a kind of cool community thing to do for anyone who's interested in buying and trying or building and want to do it in an efficient, low cost manner, or just want to know how much it actually costs and what it entails. The budget and grant group is Ariane, Lauren, and Walker. So recognizing there's a significant budget gap, they too have looked at options, like including more lot sales, grants, specifically the CDBG DR grant, and potentially using the TIF or CHIP financing that is currently being presented and voted on in the legislature. And what that program would be is, forgive me, I don't have all the details, but what that program is if a town is developing, they can, oh, how does it work? They can basically, the projected income, not income tax, property tax income that would be gained from this development could be leveraged in some way. I'm sorry, I don't have all the facts in front of me, but it is a bill that's going through the legislature currently.
Peter, excuse me, Peter has a thought on that.
It's tax
Sure.
increment. It's a tax increment financing mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what the TIF stands for. Thank you, Peter. Unfortunately, I was going purely off. I don't have that note in front of me off my memory, which is, fading every day. So I apologize. So yeah, I mean, there's the grant that we, the CDBG grant that we didn't even know if Plainfield would qualify for, because it's based on 2023 flooding, and we had some damage then, but we had more damage in 2024. But apparently it appears that we will qualify and will be able to apply for that particular grant. Of course, that money goes to the town as a whole, and I know there are other, or we know as a advisory group know that there are other priorities. So whatever money that came to the town would have to be, looked at, and a priority list would have to be made. And I'm not sure where this, who knows where this falls and how much money we would actually get. So those are some points of finances that we've been looking at, and where we kind of have gotten to at this point. Let's see, what are some other things that we did? Oh, we definitely have been looking at how we're running the meetings. We've decided that public comment will be at the end of the meeting. Draft minutes will be publicly posted within 5 days. Edits will be due by the Monday following each meeting. Agendas will be posted at the town clerk's office, post office, and Positive Pi, and online at least 48 hours before meetings. Non-unanimous votes will be conducted by roll call. And that's pretty much that. And yeah, so the prospective buyer group, yeah, is in progress. I already talked about that. Community engagement. Let's see. that's, I don't know that they've officially met yet. Oh, we've decided we're doing a property tour as well, because we haven't all had the opportunity to actually see the property. So that will be Saturday, May 10th from 10 to 11 a.m. It will be officially warned, and we suggest anyone who wants to join us will be meeting at the park and ride and walking up the bank and through the fields, wear boots, be prepared for ticks. Apparently there's ticks out there.
No, Saturday, May 10th.
10
That is
o'clock.
Saturday. Yep.
10 to
o'clock.
11.
You said at 10 o'clock.
May 10 at 10. Yep. And it will be warned. And, it's open, obviously, to the public. And we will get permission from the landowner to traipse across the property. So
Liz?
I think that's kind of it for now. We have been meeting on a weekly basis. We're going to cut that back to the same second and fourth Thursdays of the month, following suit of the select board. Caleb and I will share the responsibilities of reporting out to you guys, and I think that's it. Does anybody have questions?
Yeah, we have a question.
Liz, I've spoken about this. I didn't hear of any progress or receive this in our inbox. I want to set up a way that.
Rose?
Can you hear
Rose?
me? Yeah.
It's not very. I can sort of hear you, but not well enough to understand what you're trying to say. Nope, you're frozen.
That's fine.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Let's keep. Any,
Here,
I mean,
is it just me?
No, I can't hear them either.
Okay, thank God. I'm like, do I need to try to do something?
They're off. They're off for the moment. I think they're
Okay.
trying to get back on. Yeah. Wasn't you.
Oh, thank God. I mean, things happen, but I don't want it to be me in this particular moment.
No way to begin.
I know. It's like, why should today go any smoother now than it has all the rest of the day? Anyway.
Hey, it's not snowing, hon.
Oh, I know. Oh, yes, I know. There is that.
They're rebooting. Josh tells me they're rebooting. So,
Okay. All right.
okay.
Oh, I know. I'm waking up and looking out and still seeing snow. It was bad enough to see it come down, but
Here they are.
okay.
All right.
do we have sound now?
Yes.
Okay. All we had to do is turn it on, I guess.
Yeah, quick, ask the question.
Yeah, I know, before it bleeps out.
So,
the question is, how do we get minutes directed to the select board as soon as they're approved? I would love for there to be a mechanism or process by which the EVIAC committee sends to the select board in some way the minutes when they are approved, so that we can just have be receiving them.
Okay. Yep. I will ask that is done for you guys. No problem.
Peter?
Just a comment on the thing about the potential for the CHIPS, funding through the CHIPS bill that's currently working through the legislature. This week's
Should this go on
League of
again?
Cities and Towns legislative update has a good
I don't know.
section on the CHIPS bill, including a link to the version as passed by the Senate. And if you look at that, it gives you a good idea as to what we possibly, there are multiple components to the CHIPS bill. The specific one would be the tax increment financing, which is designed to allow municipality to expand infrastructure related to housing. So I would, it's a good place to get a quick update on that bill and what's happening, so.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like Karen maybe has something to
Yeah,
add.
and I don't want to prolong, Karen Hatcher, I don't want to prolong this because we're going to talk about it later, but just clarification on the CDBG-DR grant funding. Yes, Plainfield is eligible, and also when we do get to the point where we are zeroed in on what the priorities will be, there will be specific projects that are applied for. So it's not that the town gets a pot of money and then figures out what to do with it, but rather each project will have to have its own piece of that application with all of the details and all of the budgeting and all of it. So it's a pretty complicated thing, and we'll be talking a lot further about this in the coming weeks, but just clarification around that. It's enough.
I appreciate that, Karen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And just so we're sure, you can still hear us.
Yes.
Oh, okay. The light went out here. We weren't sure. Any other questions or thoughts, comments? Liz, thank you so much, and for your work with the group, and thanks to the group as well.
Our
It sounds challenging, but good folks on it, so we'll help where we can.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, guys.
You too. So we have a town clerk report.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Oh,
Hello, can you hear me out there?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
nothing.
Great. A couple of things. If this is really addressed to the different committee chairs and speaks to a little bit of what Francis Rosa was talking about. If you set up a Zoom meeting for your public meeting, if you notify me with the Zoom link, I'd be happy to arrange the Otter AI to do the transcription and the summary, which would probably help you do minutes. But you have to send, I know that some people aren't using the town Zoom, so I can't access it. So if you have a committee and you're gonna meet, just give me your Zoom link and I'll arrange for the AI to record it. Couple of small things. I am getting a second estimate for the lift for the building. So we'll have at least two to choose from. It's a big ticket item. So I figure that would be good. On the municipal ticketing, the Judicial Bureau came through and has issued ticket numbers for all the individuals. I'm in talks with the league regarding training. Specifically, I don't know if anybody saw, I have some motions or a motion that I'd like people to raise, which just empowers the individuals to write the ticket as part of the process. And I think I'm generally giving the constable, he can write tickets on everything, and then the health officer writes about health, and the animal control officer about animal control. Just a brief note, I don't think that he's on for this call. He said he might not be able to be, but I just want to report that the constable has been to Bean Road and had a lengthy conversation with the resident, the occupant. And the conversation was good. And the individual said he'd be out by the end of the week. Now, I would like to be optimistic about that, but I'm not sure that that will be the case. But I do want to point out that the new constable is on the job and doing the job, and would actually like to, at the select board meetings, have a constable report every week, or every time we meet, just to sort of give an update about what various issues are.
Mhm.
So having said that, do you want to read make the motions for this, or how do you want to?
Let me see what you have there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I wrote, I don't know if it's 4 motions or
You saw this one.
one.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, is there any discussion here? Did everyone see what Graham is referring to?
I did.
Here.
I guess the question I have is there anyone else, such as the town clerk or the select board, who ought to have? ticket
Well,
writing?
I mean, that would be fine. I can make the application and put your names in and you'll get a ticketing number. I have not gone through the whole process, but I mean, that would be fine to have other individuals, writing tickets and so forth. I think that could be helpful.
I'm not asking for us. I'm asking your thinking of whether there are other people in other roles, such as yourself or select board. who
Yeah,
ought
I
to.
think, I
We
mean.
can always add them later.
Yeah, I think we can, I think I want to sort of see I'm a little bit not 100% sure about the process, so I'd like to see how the process goes. And I think that these 4 town officials, and it's the health officer, animal control officer, zoning, and the constable. And I think that having those people having the ability to write tickets, I think that there's a couple of advantages to doing this. And one is it clearly documents what's going on. We have a record. It's an official record which can go to the court.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if Dan is logging on. He might be, but he can give it up if he jumps on. He might or might not. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
You gave 4 names: health, zoning, and constable. Who was?
Animal control.
Animal, right.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Gassis.
I mean, I can make the motion so we know what all we're talking about and then have a discussion on the way toward,
Yes, okay. That sounds like a good plan.
okay. Make a motion. The select board grants municipal ticket writing authority to issue citations for violations of all town statutes to the Plainfield Constable, Daniel Caddy. The select board grants municipal ticket writing authority to issue citations for violations of town statutes related to animal control to Plainfield's animal control officer, Peter Yassis. Select board grants municipal ticket writing authority to issue citations for violations of all town statutes related to health hazards and risks to the Plainfield Health Officer, Jody Velarde. And the select board grants municipal ticket writing authority to issue citations for violations of town zoning statutes to Plainfield's zoning administrator, Karen Story.
Is there a second?
Second, and then I would offer a friendly amendment
Okay,
that we not mention the people by name. That way, the authority stays with the office.
Actually, I wasn't sure about that, and I think we might have to empower a specific individual, and when we name a new person, we have to name that person. There's a lot of I've gotten different answers from different people about this. I don't, like, for example, one person said you have to cite very specific statutes each time somebody writes a ticket. And I thought, well, I mean, can't you just say enforce all municipal actions? I mean, I'll be happy to go with your amendment. I'm not objecting. I'm just saying that I purposely named the individual because I got some feedback that it had to be a very specific person. Once again, you probably know more about case law than I do. So if we want to do that, that's fine.
it makes it more flexible down the road. Go ahead.
I was
Sabrina.
wondering, what about, someone's putting mischief in, traffic violations and stuff like that?
Well, I think if it's a municipal ordinance, the person would have, for example, if there are municipal ordinances regarding parking, yes, we could have that a ticket written. I think when you're getting involved in speeding, that I'm not 100% sure, because that's set by the state, not the municipality. So I don't know that they could issue speeding tickets. I don't think so. I think it's much more municipal.
What about mischief? No,
You'd have to, the offense would have to contradict a very specific town ordinance. Perhaps it would be noise, perhaps it would be
Lighting,
what?
lighting.
Lighting, yeah, exactly. It has to be, I don't think that we can generally characterize certain types of obnoxious behavior as illegal. So I think that that's where you run into problems trying to, I hear you, but.
I think the issue here is enforcement of town ordinances.
Correct,
And, the Bean Road situation was a case where the judge said, because we didn't have this system,
Mhm.
we were at a disadvantage.
correct.
And
Yeah.
so, I understand that when somebody writes a ticket, they're gonna have to be specific about, what violating. I mean, such as we did with the dog.
Yes.
It was like, the violation was of the licensing, okay, as opposed to just, it was a bad dog, you can't be general.
It has to be very specific, and if
Right.
it's gonna be illegal.
And I would note, the Judicial Bureau does not issue the ticket number to the office, it's to the individual. So I don't know if not naming the individual puts us at a disadvantage. I totally hear what you're saying, it's a weird state statute, because they're really, they're sort of, the state is granting the individual, not the office, so I don't know.
Yeah, that seems odd. I would have sort of agree with Peter that it would seem more logical to have the office,
I'm not
but you're getting
disagreeing.
different
I'm just-
information.
But whatever, if you want to amend it, that's fine, and take the names
Yeah.
out, that's fine. I just am nervous about technical stuff in court.
Well, we can also change it when we change an officer. And we just have to remember to do that.
It seems like in case it is specific, then the specificity has been named, and if it turns out it's no longer needed, we can just make an amendment or a motion later to strip official or specific names from the official positions.
Yeah, I mean, you don't wanna have someone who had been in an office and by virtue of that office got their number from the municipal bureau, continuing to have that authority once they leave the office.
It does say to the
I-
Plainfield Constable,
Yeah.
Daniel Caddy, and so if Daniel Caddy is no longer the Plainfield Constable, to me, I read this as Daniel Caddy can no longer write tickets.
Yeah.
Right, I mean.
Yeah, and I don't know the specifics of if the number expires immediately when the person
And for our
leaves
reference,
office.
Daniel Caddy is entering the room.
Oh, Dennis. Oh, okay. Dan, I gave I don't know if you can hear me.
He's
Yeah.
not on yet. He's somehow, I don't see him.
Probably
Still in the
internet
waiting
issue.
room.
I just let him in. Just slow motion joining.
Okay. Dan, are you on? Oh, hey, Dan, it's Bram, we were just talking about the situation on Bean Road, if you want to give, I gave a summary, but if you want to speak about it. You're muted, I don't know if you can hear me.
Is there further discussion on the motions to
I'm fine with.
empower
You're okay?
the constable, the animal control officer, the health officer, and the zoning administrator to write tickets?
So we have a motion and second, and no further discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
I
And it's unanimous.
thank you, Bram, for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for this.
Let's get.
It gives us more,
Yeah, I think that's the whole point is that it gives the ability to give us it forces people to document and we have a legally binding record that we can present to judiciary.
and anything else or I guess we're waiting for Dan to see if he can come on. Can you hear us, Dan?
Yes, I can. Sorry, hold on. I completely spaced the time and was watching the motorcycle outside.
No problem, don't worry about it. Yeah, we happen to be on this
You hear me?
topic. So
Yeah,
I gave a little bit of a summary of your encounter at Bean Road, but if you want to speak to it, that'd be great.
Yep, so with, I'm a in-person kind of guy. I think a lot can be done face to face, and it starts with just having a simple conversation with somebody. So I went up and made contact with Devin on the 26th. We had a pleasant conversation. I introduced myself. Hey, I'm the new constable, and kind of just outlines the issues as it stands with, you got a court order to vacate. And the point was argued, well, no, it just says we can't use it as a residence. I pointed out that you have domestic animals here, so that's being used as a residence, and people have been documenting the fact that you're staying overnight, which also makes it a residence. I know you got a court date on Friday, but people have been dealing with this for years. It's time to just listen to the order, and vacate means vacate and take the trailer with you. So there were some points of contention, but all in all, it was a very productive conversation. There were no loud voices. There was no back and forth, and he has my number, I have his, and he did make a verbal agreement to me that he would have the camper out of there this week. Based on previous lack of follow through, I don't hold high hopes for that. But I at least wanted to open that dialogue and let him know it's on my radar and that I would be following it very diligently.
Dan, did you say it was this Friday his court date is?
This Friday, correct, in the
Okay.
morning.
Thank you, Dan. That sounds productive.
Thank you, yeah.
Great, thanks. And I mentioned, Dan, that you, if the select board wants, you could give a summary of the constable thing during the select board meetings. So,
Is it your interest, Dan, to have a bi-weekly select board report to the select board?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I can also summarize the, like I posted in the group, got a report by somebody posted in the group that fishing spot that's used by a lot of families, especially kids, had a ton of syringes everywhere around. So I went out that morning with a sharps container and filled about half a sharps container with syringes that were lying about. That spot is now on my radar as well. So I will be working with forget her name. It's Washington County Drug Misuse Coordinator, like reduction coordinator, to look at some potential avenues for ensuring that, because half of these needles were left uncapped with the dirty end exposed, which doesn't sit right with me. But looking at other avenues to where we can, as a town, not necessarily be encouraging drug use, but saying, if you're going to do something that we don't have the ability to stop, can you at least make sure that you're keeping other people safe by utilizing sharps containers or another method, to trying to balance that, understanding that addiction is terrible and we would rather have people get help. I offered to drive somebody to their intake appointment if they wanted to get help, but in the meantime, have a little human decency and don't put kids and other people at risk. So those were kind of the two major things for this week. I'm sure more will follow as more people have my my number and email, because I include it in every post. And I just encourage people, if there is an issue, reach out to me. If you don't know where to start or whether it falls in my jurisdiction, I can definitely get you pointed in the right direction.
Thank you, Dan. That sounds very productive.
Yeah, sounds like good sense also. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to move to the town treasury report.
Broken, I couldn't hear a word that was said.
Oh,
Can you hear us?
can you hear us, Dan?
Can you hear me, Dan?
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Town Treasurer.
Hold on, let me,
How did we lose sound again?
No, I can hear you. It's not everybody.
Great. Thank you, Karen.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You want to try, Josh?
All right, so Josh Pitts, Town Treasurer. Today, I want to talk about first I want to talk about the current state of like
No, what is up with the audio?
getting getting the financials under track. We have issues in the previous fiscal year, and the current fiscal year in terms of the reconciliation difficulties that we're having. And, I've been working with Bonnie Batchelder of Batchelder and Associates, and we've come up with a plan. And the first phase of the plan is to balance, reconcile everything as of June 30th, 2024. And then we will then we can reset all of the fund locations to what should be correct and have all of our bank reconciliations match our fund accounting, and then we can reconcile in the fiscal year current. This is important work because we need to have everything in order, given that it is my expectation that we'll have a single federal audit, and we should be pursuing regular audits. So this is something we're going to have to do anyway. And right now is a fine time to get started so that we can close out the previous fiscal year and that where everything balances. And one of the things that we're going to have to figure out is how we're going to pay for it. It's going to be, I'm going to get some information from Bonnie about exactly how much in an estimate of an hourly rate. And but kind of the high mark is going to be about $35,000 to $40,000, and to do this level of work, because we're essentially trying to correct a lot of structural errors, we're trying to correct a lot of mistakes, and we're trying to create a good foundation for going into the next fiscal year, where we're going to see a lot of these grants start to come in, and all of that influx and output of monies is going to really create a lot of difficulty for myself, which I signed up for. No shade, but but we really need to have the structure in place. And so I don't have a plan in place currently to pay for this. So I'm going to work on that a little bit. And my next step is to check with Vermont leagues and cities and towns. They have a structure in which, or they have a program internally that can help municipalities with these kind of financial strategy situations. And so I spoke with I don't have it in my notes, but I spoke with League of Cities and Towns last week about that also. And then for the one other piece that I wanted to cover was, or I think we made that the next agenda item, correct?
For the next regular meeting?
The
No,
integrity group.
the integrity group.
Oh, yeah, that's the next item, yeah.
Yeah, so, we are, we're in the middle, or kind of really in close to the beginning of the whole process that we're moving through with FEMA. To go from having the disaster, getting the declaration, and then you get site inspections, and I'm leaving out a lot of steps that he knows about. That's not my bailiwick, but the thing that is going to bring us money in this town is making sure that we're hiring the right expertise so that we don't make mistakes, drop the ball on things. And we've seen a lot of successes with the integrity group. However, due to the chaos internally at FEMA, it seems that we are cycling through different people from FEMA, which is creating this drive to make changes regularly. And so we've received a change, amendment to the, what is it called, the task order?
Yep.
Yeah, so the cost is going up, from 111,000 to, let me just make sure I get that right.
It's in that document, right?
It's in the document, yeah.
So this is, this is sort of an introduction. We're gonna have like an actual.
Oh, this one.
Something contractual to sign, but the amount's going from $111,800 to $213,025. And this is all in kind of like, just that unanticipated extra work of having to change the point of contact at FEMA. It's not something that we've like incurred through our mistake. But because we are hiring consultants to do the work, that increased workload is going to significantly like put a lot more hours on their tally. So, but I think that actually, Gary, if you want to speak to the kind of some of the benefits that we've gotten from working with Integrity.
Yeah.
Or we could wait till Karen comes on too. We could, but either one, yeah.
Well, Gary's can speak to this, but I just would like to say that the task order is what we're looking to do is have the increase of the task order be approved because we need to continue the work. Yes, there's been a lot of extra work because of what's happened with FEMA, but at the same time, the amount of money that we're able to claim because we're working with the Integrity Group is far beyond what the increase in the task order is. So in a sense, we're in the middle of it. We need to keep going and we need to approve the additional expense. We never thought it was going to be a total of 111,000 for the whole run. This is going to be a long time working with them to get all of the millions of dollars that are going to come in. So it's just a matter of we need to now sign the next piece of contract basically to say, yes, let's keep going. And it's not, it's a little sooner, I would say, than what we had hoped for. We thought we'd get a little more time out of the first task order, but in fact, it's been pretty labor intensive and Gary can speak to that. But it's, I think where we are now is we're making a lot of really good headway. And I think we're in good position to be making up that money and bringing more money. So that's kind of what my view on this is. But Gary, if you want to speak to the specifics of working with Integrity and what that's meant in terms of the help we really do need. I don't see a way we don't continue with them because it's so complicated. So, but I'll be quiet now and just let Gary speak.
Yeah, I'm good at microphone. Gary Smith, FEMA Public. Gary Smith, the FEMA Public Assistance Coordinator. And I think I would back up a little bit. My perspective, I don't think we'd even be here asking for an amendment at this time, except for the fact that when we submitted our damage inventory to FEMA, which was about 150 damaged areas of bridges, roads, culverts, washouts, and the like. When we submitted it in January, we had it organized and set into projects, and our FEMA project delivery manager immediately pretty much played 52 pickup with it and reshuffled it and organized it into different projects. And then in a period of about 4 weeks, we went through 4 different program delivery managers with different approaches to how those damages should be packaged. That caused, well, we still have not signed off on the damage inventory, and that has cost an inordinate amount of extra work, of which if it had not been for the integrity group, would have put, I would, if I didn't have any help to get this done, I don't know how we would have navigated through this. And the good news is, we have now got a solid program delivery manager at FEMA. Jamil, you can't leave right now, so anyway, she's awesome, a little hard to understand at times, but she's good. And with the integrity group, what I can tell you is we are getting better. The damage inventory and how it's structured, we will get more money for recovery and ultimately mitigation to prevent, hopefully prevent us to be more resilient from areas being damaged in the future. Than we would have ever even known how to, we wouldn't even have known how to organize things in this way. And that's what the integrity group brings to the package.
Mhm.
So I would strongly recommend that amendment be approved.
Thank you, Gary. I think we should remember that the intention is to get this extra money that would go to integrity from the fee that is paid by the grant, through the grant. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So I think I've been watching this group since the beginning, and for volunteers, it's an amazing amount of work for all of you. But without integrity group who is monitoring things on a national scale, it really, I support this. I think we need to do it to continue the work we've done and not lose what we have done.
Agreed. Make a motion to sign the amended agreement. The next phase task order with the integrity group to carry on the work of FEMA compensation for the town.
I
So,
second.
second from,
I think we should reference the task order number 2024-01, amendment 1.
okay, 2401, you said?
2024-01, amendment 1.
There's amendment 1. Can we amend that, your motion with that? Okay.
Sounds pretty friendly.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that's unanimous.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
As a note, we're going to include these documents in the minutes from now on. So
Okay.
if a document is referenced, you actually see the document, so
Good.
less confusion.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, I think we're talking about well, next on the agenda was the zoning. Can we?
Road commissioners report.
Oh, road commissioner, I'm sorry. Yeah. He's right there.
All right, so turning away from FEMA and just talking briefly about federal highway works. We're expecting to get about 56,000 back in the next week or so from this will be the final monies that will come in from 2023. Will finally come in the next couple of weeks. And then as far as like the current FHWA work, we have a contract for the design of Mill Street Bridge from Du Bois and King. Our municipal project manager is going to review it. He has some questions about some of the expenditures, and so we're kind of in the middle of that. And then the rest of the projects will kind of follow this model where we have the municipal project management, we select them, we contract them, they help select the design consultants that we are interested in, and so forth. The project locations from Cameron Road to Ray Road, there are some questions that on the damaged inventory that they're pushing back on, so we've had a bit of a back and forth to try to get the Cameron Road Bridge included, and then there's some,
Included with federal highways.
we're talking about federal highway, yeah. And then, so then I've been able to go out on nice days and take pictures of bridges, it's been great. You know, who could ask for a better pastime? On Wednesday morning, I'll be going out with the road foreman because we've gotten some, also, it seems to be that they're asking for a lot more information on the 2024 DDIR than I saw they're requiring in 2023. And I'm not sure what the reason for that is, but suffice to say, I'll be going out with the road foreman early on Wednesday because we're gonna get some more detail in down to the length, depth of damage so that they can. I think there's pressure just to check all the boxes on their side. So it's put a little bit of mud under our tires to keep this kind of going quickly. But I haven't got any hard no's on anything yet in terms of what we're interested in, like looking to get replacement estimates, and none of that affects like the compensation for the emergency work at all. But you know, this old infrastructure needs to get looked at and addressed by federal highway, because that's what essentially they're supposed to do in the event of a disaster. And then on a small note, we have a grant award for $5,120 as part of the Better Roads program. And this is a program where we kind of map out a section of our highway, and that plays into our ability to get certain grants. So it's kind of a mapping and tracking of like how we are using our revenues in kind of in an asset management type of way. Is a program through the state and using GIS mapping. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what needs to happen for that on Wednesday when we're driving around with our tape measures. So that's what I have for the road report.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks.
Make a personal request.
Yes, sir.
Following up on the great work on the snow fence on the Mill Street Bridge. At the bottom of East Hill, where it comes to Maple Hill, there are two really bad potholes as you turn onto the road, and I'm hoping that they might get prioritized.
Oh, it's on the pavement,
Yeah,
They're on the pavement.
but they're like right at the.
right at the intersection. It forces you to drive in the opposite lane.
We'll remind you, we have the road condition, citizens road reporting form is available on the website, and that is how we keep on top of these things.
These potholes.
Okay, so
Zoning amendment hearing.
the zoning amendment hearing warning. Do we have Will?
Will was
He was
here.
here.
Oh, he still is.
He's there, yeah.
Is he gonna hear
Oh,
us?
I'm here. I'm here.
And you can hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Great, okay. Can you tell us what this is about and what people should know?
Well, the amendments that are proposed, well, first of all, you have to do the hearing after the revote because we can't amend something that's going to be repealed. So the hearing date should be after May 20th. And then the amendments are specifically the items that came up during the Planning Commission's hearing process about some of them are the making of the 1/10 acre conditional use in the village and no more than 30% of the lots at a subdivision, 1/10 of an acre, and a few definitions that came up during our hearing process. So there were really, it should have been in the document that was voted on, but because of the timing of warning and putting it in the town report for the vote, we couldn't get them in.
Okay. And these don't sound like very major items. These are more clarification items or
Yeah, they're more clarification. I mean, Yeah, they're major in the sense that, you know, you could change them, and I tried to get the Vermont League of Cities and Town to adapt them as minor amendments, which you can do at the select board hearing process, but their opinion, they're conservative, and they said, no, these should be a second set of amendments. But I do have an amendment that I came up with that they would consider once we get to this stage, and that would be just to change the title of the document from zoning bylaw to unified development bylaw, which is what most of the towns say it, and it does it more conveys the notion that this is multiple bylaws combined into one document. Because I've heard from some of the feedback on the original document that it was confusing to call it just zoning when it's subdivision and flood and telecommunications. But during our previous hearings, people were confused by unified development bylaw. So I thought, well, let's just call it zoning because they can understand that. But my conclusion is it's confusing either way. So might as well have the more appropriate title. But that's in the future. So you
Yeah.
can set your date after the May 20th vote.
Okay, so we'll hear from you again after that vote.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But it
okay.
sounds like we need enough days' notice about that hearing after the vote that we might want to set that date now.
Is that what you're asking for?
Well, no,
Yeah.
well, I think you can go ahead and set your, you need 15 days. I suppose you could wait till May 20th to set the 15 days. But as long as you don't hold the hearing before the rescinding vote, I think it'd be okay. Somewhere in late May, early June. To be
Yeah, I mean,
to be absolutely sure, why don't you set the date after, have the warning after the date of the vote? That way, no one's going to complain about it.
And does that happen within a select board meeting, or is that a hearing on its own?
You can have it during one of your regular meetings. So you can
Yeah.
look at your calendar, count the days back from May 20th, and say, we can have it as part of that meeting. You don't need to hold a special hearing.
okay,
And you can approve those amendments by legislative vote at that meeting.
Do we want to schedule a hearing for the first regular meeting beyond the May 20th vote?
that'd be May 28th, I think.
Yeah, but if you want the 15-day cushion, you do it in the first meeting in June.
Which is Memorial Day.
Yeah, so do it
our
a week later. Yeah,
Our
so
second
pick it.
regular meeting, it falls on Memorial Day.
Yeah, okay, so we probably shouldn't do that.
So do June. So do your first meeting in June.
Okay,
That would give the 15 days to set the warning. Everything should be fine.
But we have to set the warning. Okay, yeah, we can set.
do we set the warning now, and that way we're just, you know,
Yeah,
over.
I think so. I don't think you can warn it too far ahead. I think you can just warn the date for that June meeting and put out the warning and put it in the agenda, and the documents are on the planning commission page, and I'll have them moved forward. I'll ask to have them put on the front page and your page.
Bram has a question.
Well, it's not a question, it's more a comment.
Comment.
This vote has caused a lot of confusion within the community. And I'm a little bit nervous about warning a hearing about this topic, because I think it might confuse people about the vote itself and all that. I mean, I just think have it.
Just do the vote.
Don't publicize that there's a hearing, because people are gonna be like, well, I guess you're assuming that this will pass and stuff. There are people who are pretty wound up about this issue, and we receive a lot of phone calls. Do what you want. I'm just saying that, you know, it seems self-evident that you're just trying to, you know, make the scheduling easier. But I'm not sure what people are gonna read about this stuff, you know.
Well,
That's good advice. I go with Bram on that one.
yeah, let's just get the vote done, and then we'll set it. It sounds like there's not a.
That you know, your, Francis's, instinct is correct in wanting to just make these schedules and have it all worked out. I'm just saying that there are, I think elements within the vote and the revote that might read some sort of conspiratorial thing in the fact that you're scheduling the hearing
Okay.
and stuff.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
On the vote itself, on May 20th, the actual warning language is out there already?
Correct.
Okay, and it's basically the same thing.
Exact same.
So yes means yes and no means no.
Correct. And it's the same wording, and it's the same, and, the warning is posted with the sample ballot. There's an ad in the Times Argus that's gonna run, so everybody is should be fully warned about it.
And I
It's
know
posted in the
you're all-
post office.
You're all set up for absentees and everything.
Correct, we've received absentee ballots already on this issue.
Okay. Yeah, so let's wait, I think.
Yep.
Does that, everybody else agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bram. Good advice.
Yeah,
Okay. And then we will have a meeting after the election that would give us the 15 days before. No, it'd be 14 days. It'll just be 14 days. So we wouldn't be able to do it on the 9th. It would be the 23rd of June.
yeah,
You say 15 days, Will, right? Not 14?
Yes, 15 days, and that includes putting it in the Times Argus, so that's always a few more than 15, so better to be safe than sorry.
So
Yeah.
then really looking more like June 23rd.
yeah, so it's more of a schedule,
At
it
the-
sounds
at
like a
the-
scheduling thing, yeah. Okay, well, thanks.
Thank you, Will.
Okay, thank you.
The VCRD Community Event Series, do you know about this, or?
Yeah, Laura, Cavan Bailey came to our last select board meeting to talk about this. We expressed curiosity, we expressed interest. She wanted like an official statement from the select board. We wanted to think it over. Be in touch with VCRD in the interim. And so we have basically a letter that we could make a motion to approve and then sign on behalf of the board to welcome the Vermont Council for Rural Development to host a number of community conversations to help us think about housing, revitalization, and recovery. And for the sake of the motion, I can read that document. Is this a good time for that, or any other comments from the board?
Well, we could have a discussion if we get a motion.
Yeah, go ahead, make the motion.
Sure. So this is basically a select board statement to the VCRD. The town of Plainfield would like to request support from the Vermont Council on Rural Development through the Climate Economy Resilient Communities Program for community engagement services for a fall series for recovery and resilience planning and a focused forum on housing and/or community spaces in the summer of 2025. The select board has met with VCRD staff, discussed the process and potential of such community planning. We would like to be considered for participation. Thank you for your consideration and assistance with this very important step for our town. Sincerely, the Plainfield Select Board. So I make a motion that this letter be signed on behalf of the board by any one of us.
Second,
Have a motion and second, any further discussion?
they requested an invitation from us. And after the discussion we had with Lauren last time, she sent us
An invitation.
basically this model.
Yeah,
And so we're asking for this model, but they do scheduling of these things, so it's important that they get a formal request from us.
yes, and this was offered way back when the governor was here.
This was
So-
offered last fall.
Yeah, so, it's, I think we should take them up on it.
Yeah. So there was a motion, there was a second.
We have a second. And, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And do we all sign it or is it one signature? On the letter.
Carl's fine.
I said by anyone. The motion was by any one of us.
Yeah.
So I suppose the next step there is to go to the office, get it printed, sign it and mail it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that'd be signed on behalf of the board. Yep. Personnel policy. And benefits. That's the next item on the agenda. I read through the 40 pages. Which was, I noticed my name was on previous versions of this when I was on the select board before. But I didn't remember any of it. There was nothing in particular I saw, but you're much more attuned to what what's in it now.
The document that we have, was last formally amended, I think, September 5th of 2023. And it basically calls to be reviewed at least once every 3 years. And last fall, right after I came on, Bram asked for assistance specifically with the health insurance, clarifying who was covered and who wasn't covered, because it wasn't clear. And so at that point, I endeavored and went through the personnel policy and went back through the select board minutes to 2016. And I sent that document on to you, and Francis Rose came by my house one morning and listened to me rant about what was in or not in. And there are some things that have been omitted as it has been updated.
I can attest, there are holes.
There are holes in it. In terms of substance, I think we've taken care of the major substantive items through the budget process and other amendments, such as clarifying the health insurance, doing the dental policy, switching back to health savings accounts. But there are some other things in there that have occurred, such as we switched to non-elected town clerk and treasurer, who are specifically exempted from certain sections of the policy. And so we need to clean up and make those things consistent. I've kept some notes as we've gone along about other things, such as there was a decision by the select board to cover the childcare tax that the legislature implemented last year as part of a benefit for our employees. That's not written in there. I think we noticed when we were looking at cost of living increases that the index that was cited in there no longer exists. There's a different index that we should probably use for that. So there are some, definitely some cleanup things. I don't think there are any major things out there. I think there was the only thing I've heard, and Bram sent me a copy of, this is the correct sick leave policy. I know Carol had raised some questions about whether our sick leave policy was actually what it should be. So I think there's definitely a cleanup thing here that needs to happen. I would like to figure out a process and maybe a timeline, say a month from now, to circulate the current policy with a list of the changes that we've made that we need to implement, and just open it broadly to all our employees for any input on what they see or hear in that personnel policy. I just think that open invitation should be there, and we should consciously do that. And I'm happy to,
I hope that
do what I can with that.
everybody takes advantage of the new email, the Google Docs. I mean, I think it's basically designed to have this kind of collaborative thing where people can leave notes and you can read what people say. So I hope that is taken advantage of.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. So the idea is, you're suggesting a month to.
Yeah, like, I think, 2 weeks is too soon, but,
Yeah.
2 meetings from now, to come back. we have a PDF, and I know Jamie the other day sent me, she created a Word document, so they did, yeah, that we can, we need a clean document.
Yeah.
These things get formatted and indents when you do subsection 1A and 1 and 2 under A, it all gets really garbled.
So
Yeah.
do you need help translating the PDF to a editable doc?
No, I think once my son completes rebuilding my computer, which 2 weeks ago, it should be done in about a week. I'm happy to sit there and type it up, so.
And that'll be through Google Docs.
Well,
We'll get it on that.
we'll get the document once it's typed up
Yeah,
onto there, so.
okay.
But I think, reaching out to, I can send an email blast to all the employees, basically saying the select board is looking at this. I know that whenever we have a new hire, they're given a copy of the policy.
Mhm.
They're supposed to read and sign off on it.
Yeah.
Whatnot, so, but,
So we're thinking they can give us input. Just as they see things, rather than have a meeting. I was trying to figure out how to have a.
we could do a meeting too. We may have difficulty getting everybody
That's
in
what
the
I'm
same
thinking.
room at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the work schedules are different, but I'm open to as many options for people as we can, but certainly an email blast and, here's the current policy, send it to them again. Any comments, questions, let us know.
I think that's a good place to start. Depending on what we hear, we may or may not decide to have some meeting with.
Maybe it's an invitation to comments, questions, suggestions.
Mhm.
And would you like to meet in person with the other town employees, just to gauge desire? Because if there is desire there, I see how it's more human to be in a room full of people talking about it together, especially those who are equally impacted by the policy, might want to be together. But also I'm sympathetic to, it might be hard to get together schedule wise, and
Yeah.
maybe it's not worth trying if there's no interest.
Yeah.
So, but I think
That's what.
putting in an invitation to
Yeah.
consider
Yeah.
whether or not that actually interests them.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you as the former general manager of the Plainfield Co-op, it was absolutely impossible to have a staff meeting with everyone present.
Mhm.
Just not happening. So
Checks out.
you do the best you can.
So, what's a step then? We're gonna send out you or Graham, or who would send out that?
Yeah, I'll
invite?
send it out
Okay.
from on behalf of the select board that we're, doing a update of the policy, which hasn't been. Here's the current policy. Here are some actions that we've taken that we know need to be incorporated. Please send us your other feedback. Would you like to get together, with your other,
Yeah.
town employee colleagues, and
Yeah.
if so, let us know.
That sounds really great.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
And hopefully we'll get feedback that is meaningful for the employees.
And I would urge all of you to send me your comments.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Any notes that, you've made in these meetings as we've gone along, so. For example, just to throw a hot potato out there, we currently do payroll once a week,
Oh, right.
and I know the subject has come up, this is going to bi-weekly, is this the time we raise that question?
I mean, that is part of the personnel policy. I see how that is enveloped by the conversation entitled personnel policy.
Yeah. I have a question, for example, there's a piece in there that says, once you're here 3 days, 3 years, there's a merit raise. I may not be using the right term. Okay, it's not just cost of living, but I'd come eligible for that. Okay. Do we then do that on your anniversary date, or do we do that at the beginning of the fiscal year? Those are some maybe bureaucratic or administrative things, but I'm not sure we're consistent in how we do that. So I would raise those kinds of questions.
Yep.
So as a kind of an appendix to what we've already done, here are things we need to clarify.
Or topics that have come up. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And that, would that be part of the email that
Yeah,
goes out? Yeah, I think it should be.
yeah.
Yeah, because we may as well raise it and find out what.
Yeah.
And who is concerned about it, and maybe there's a way to work around that if it's a problem. I think it's a good idea. Good. All right, well, thank you. I think we're
into
approving minutes.
approving minutes. April 14th, 2025.
And Jamie incorporated the changes that, I know there were a number of typo stuff like that.
Right.
They were all, they're included in the, just specify revised minutes, I think, when you make the motion.
Okay,
Yes, she did send some
She
stuff
sent
this
it around.
afternoon that
Yeah.
put in the right numbers for the excavator and, you know,
yeah, yeah,
and stuff.
that was great. Thank you for having them do that.
Make a motion to approve the
Mhm.
improved draft minutes for Monday, the 14th, 2025.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I wonder on the topic of minutes, to me, the summaries, I would invite Jamie to delete the summaries. I'm less interested in AI's summary and more interested in AI's minutes.
So, there's a technical issue in terms of, in other words, you're talking about the transcript or?
Yeah, well, so above the transcript, there's a summary. There's like, oh, hey, this is kind of what happened at this meeting,
Okay,
total. And then below that is the transcript.
right.
And so the summary feels redundant to me and not done by a human.
Okay.
The transcript, I think, is really the juice of the minutes.
Right, no, that's true. There is, I don't know, I have to look specifically at what you're talking about, but there are specific requirements for minutes.
In the
Yeah.
law,
Big one?
in the law.
Yeah, so in other words, sometimes in the transcript, there isn't a clear indication of when a vote occurred and how everybody voted. It's a little muddled. So to have that information and who attended and having that broken out would, it would make us not get challenged by not following the rules. We have to put, if the vote is unanimous, it's fine, but if the vote is not unanimous, we have to list very specifically who voted for what.
That's not what I'm quibbling with. Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, include all motions, include all seconds, include all.
And
number of votes.
attendance of
I'm-
participating people.
There's,
So, yeah.
there's a 2-paragraph summary at the beginning of these meeting minutes that we just approved.
Okay.
Many of the items here are repeated down.
Okay, yeah, well
down
then, yeah, I didn't. look
It's
at
the,
it.
it's the summary section specifically,
It was the-
because
it was
what the
summary.
motions are covered under the motion section.
Exactly.
But the
Okay.
motions that AI did are not specific enough to meet the statutory requirement, in my opinion.
Yeah,
If you make a motion and refer to something specific, that has to appear in the minutes.
yeah,
It can't just be a summary that said, oh, they passed the greater motion. There has to be,
no, that's what I thought that the summary was addressing the statutory.
no,
requirements.
even the stuff down below didn't quite cut it, but.
So when this is going to recur and recur, because right now we are using this software to help us.
Yeah,
I guess, do you have clarity about how we can?
well, I mean, Jamie is new, and so I think, showing her the Vermont statutes
Jamie
annotated,
uses they pronouns.
showing Jamie the Vermont statutes annotated that says, here are the legal requirements. Anything above and beyond that is great. It sets context, mood, tone, et cetera, but you have to do the statutory minimum.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
And I just like to point out that the summary, although I found the same thing you did, it's a little bit like, yeah, this feels weird. I think it'll get better, but also other people are reading this that weren't in the meeting that we attended. And maybe this is helpful to them to have another way to look at it, instead of just reading the dry, here's what the vote was and so on. So I think we should stick with it for a while. But hearing your thought, I had the same thought.
And I think it's sensible what Peter is describing,
Yeah.
which is to let Jamie know that what the state's specificity is, and just to double check, cross-reference that, those requirements for each one of our minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so we'll keep going this way and fine tune if we can.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at the minutes this
Yeah, yeah.
week, so. It might be off.
Okay, we have to approve warrants, accounts payable of 425, 428. And payroll of 417 and 424. Can I have or I guess I could make them one.
I'll make a motion, approve warrants, accounts payable 425, 428, payroll 417 and 424.
A second,
Is there a second
a second.
from Patty, and all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Let's see, we have liquor license approvals. This is something Carol requested. If you can make a.
Yeah.
Yes.
For Positive Pie, first class, third class, outside consumption. And, you know, Carol actually handles this behind the scenes from us. We are motioning to approve liquor license for Positive Pie.
And that's the motion?
That's the motion. And then-
Okay.
And Carol is really handling this
Okay, and she,
behind the scenes through I think through NIMRIC.
No, through actually through the state liquor authority. And just a note, it's, there is actually going to be a new owner of Positive Pie, starting May 1st.
Oh,
I invited, the gentleman, he owns, other pizzerias. Like his email is neighborhood pizzeria. I think, he owns a place in Waterbury and a pizza place at the bowling alley or something. He said that the entree items will probably change a little bit, but the pizza will remain. You know, what people are used to at Positive Pie, but that'll start, I believe, May 1st.
wow. That's
So
good.
just thought I invited him actually to the meeting, but he might have. You know, not realized
That's
the
fine.
timing, so just FYI.
Okay, well, we have a motion, but no second.
second,
We have motion and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, what's the outside portion of
I
the
worried about
license?
that too.
In the back, I believe it's for the back porch.
It's for the back, it's not for the
Okay.
wall front or anything, that's controversial.
For the deck,
I worried about that
the
too.
deck. the outside
in the
deck.
back.
That's
correct.
Yeah,
So
That's
people
what I-
cannot stand in front with their alcohol or on the wall. They have, it's only in the back.
Yeah, they have to be in the back, the
Okay.
wall, the sidewalk, it brings up a lot of stuff with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
There's a history which I don't know about. but-
well, I remembered it well, and you
Yeah,
do
so
too.
that seems to be a real hot button. So
Yeah.
We're talking about the back.
The back
Okay,
deck,
okay.
okay. Motion and second, any further discussion?
that was it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, we look forward to meeting our new owner.
Yeah.
And,
As long as
the
it
next day.
doesn't switch to Chicago style pizza, we're all right.
Yeah.
You wanna make a,
He's like a king, he said,
it's a recommendation, select word.
yeah.
Next select board meeting is May 5.
Is that right?
Uh,
Oh, no, because that's the hearing.
this is a hearing, but it has to be warned.
Okay, yeah.
So we can't all be here and be part of the hearing, but we won't have a formal meeting. We're gonna turn it over to Karen.
Did you say we cannot all be here? We can all be.
We
here?
don't-
No, we can because.
We
we're
Can
can,
be here, okay.
because it's, yeah,
Because.
Okay.
because it's warned, but you don't have to be. It's, I'm gonna be here just because I'm interested in it, but Karen's gonna be running the show.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the
I remember
grants group
that.
reporting.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll sit out there.
What's that?
You can sit out there.
Yeah, sit out there.
Cool.
May 5, right?
Yeah,
Is that what it
May
was?
5.
Yeah. Okay,
Same time, same time.
6 o'clock,
Okay.
6
yeah,
o'clock.
it was 6, yeah.
I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Wow.
And Second,
I'll second it, yeah.
and all those in favor, so aye. Aye. Thank you all.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everybody.
So will you, these LCDs.
No, Chicago, what's Chicago